our first final win against Melbourne was a memorable one. Another one was one against Hawthorn in 2010.
Hawthorn in 2010 final.
I'd say the Vic Metro game was probably the best one, yeah.
My 2005 Colts Grand Final for Trinity Aquinas.
The first final that we won against Melbourne, that was really memorable, and Hawthorn in 2010 at Subi or Patterson Stadium, the final that we won.
2010 final against Hawthorn.
I think it was my second or third game. We beat Collingwood here by about 23 goals.
The final in 2010 against Hawthorn.
I don't know, I've had a few grand final wins back in Kadena, in the hometown. So
my first win in AFL. Probably my first derby.
In 2010, round 3 against Geelong.
Prelim versus the Bulldogs in 2010.
Probably my first game. When I was at Port Adelaide, we played the Western Bulldogs and we were down the very bottom of the ladder, and the Bulldogs were in the finals race, and we beat them up in Darwin, so it was a pretty memorable game.
Elimination final in my first year against Hawthorn.
My under-18s Colts premiership with East Fremantle.
Probably my first game against Brisbane last year.
Bulldogs last year was pretty memorable on Anzac Day. So.
Probably the final against Melbourne was pretty exciting, or maybe my first game was the first time we'd won down in Geelong.
Under-18 championships, Vic Country at Adelaide Oval.
Geelong game, 2010.
Beating Hawthorn in the elimination final in 2010.
Under-16s grand final I played in.
Hawthorn, first final, 2010.
Probably just my AFL debut.
My first AFL match.
Probably my first game, we beat Adelaide.
Probably 2010 grand final, TSC Cup.
First game, Western Derby against the Eagles.
My first game against Richmond.
Beating Kepler BRADLEY at golf.